night. But
Yeah.
you know,
think,
with a lot of our trainers, you know, they do the trainer schools, and like again, we like gave our training programs, like this is our like money, this is what we make here, this is exactly how you do it. Go, all of them, literally all of them were like. At the end of that, they have all that information, and they're like, I want to work for you, though.
See,
Right?
that's good. You're basically training them to work for you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's dope.
And that, you know, the biggest, one of the biggest things that I've learned is that, you know, when to be a leader, you want to be able to grow somebody, and if they can get to a level that you are or above, that's, I mean, it's better for you, right?
Okay, see, I love that. Let's get into that real quick.
That's one of the questions.
Yeah, because that's one of the questions. So I want to ask you that, and I'm gonna go separately. I want separate answers.
Sure.
So I'll start with you. So what do you believe a leader is?
I believe a leader is somebody who leads or shows, you know, how to grow by example, right? So it has nothing to do with, you know, being of a position of authority or anything like that. A leader can be from any level on any team, right? As long as you are giving an example, showing somebody, you know, if someone emulates what you do, I think that's being a leader.
That's a good answer. I like that.
Yeah.
And what do you believe?
I gotta say something different, right? I can't like pull
Yeah,
from him.
I would
so
try to go a little like
Yeah.
on your own thing. Like what in your
I think-
mind, like because you do different things than him, so
Yeah.
you actually do have a different mindset. So you in your mindset, being a howler in your own right, what is a leader to you?
I believe a leader would be like someone that's influential, right, and is able to take someone and make them the best possible person they can be, as long as they're matching that level of energy, right? So leaders have that talent of, you know, bringing out those certain, you know,
Traits,
skills and traits in people. Again, though, as long as that person is willing to match that level of energy putting in, right? That's one thing I've learned with leadership, right? If I can give and I can help build people, but it has to match, and no matter I found as like a leader, no matter how much I try, if they're not willing to match that, it's not going to work, right?
And that's what a lot of entrepreneurs have to deal with. I mean, you can't force them to drink. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of times it's not in them, or they don't want to do that, and it's going to take more energy from you trying to force them in a sense to become something great when they don't really want to, and it's going to take away from you.
Yeah.
Because it drains you as a leader. If you know that there's nothing going to come from that, you're like, you got to let those people go sometimes.
A lot of people do it for the money nowadays. A lot of the things that people are doing is for the money and not for the passion.
Yeah.
You know, the money's only going to take it so far.
And that's true. There's not a lot of passion in things anymore.
I know.
And you guys are saying you guys are up all night. That's passion. You know what I mean?
9
Yeah.
years.
That means you guys are putting it in.
That's not, I mean, something that's just like, it's a hobby. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah,
At this point.
It is a lifestyle, and it's funny because people always ask, like, what are you guys into? What do you guys do? You know, this and that, and it's like we're like business. Like, that's all we talk about. Like, we were on a cruise last week, and the internet was, like, super limited, and we're like, hey, what can we do on the notes of our phone? Like, it's just, we're constantly creating and making more.
See, I love that, though.
Stop.
I'm not mad at that at all. I love that. Like business excites me.
Yeah.
So when you see like your vision come to life and it just keeps growing, and it's like an excitement that comes in. So I could see that's probably the same way in you guys.
Yeah.
That you guys get excited to see that, and people are like, "Why are you always thinking about work?" Well, hey, this is my baby.
Yeah.
It's like it's growing, and you're watching it grow, and you're just like, "Wow," you know. So I understand, and I love that. I love that. I love that about you guys, because you don't see a lot of entrepreneurs like that. You know what I mean? A lot of times it'll be about the money, you know, and it's like, that's great. It is great. But if you don't love what you do, or you feel some type of way inside for what you're doing, it's not the same. Like, I love what I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so when I feel like, hey, it's not, obviously we do want the money. I mean, it has to be there, right? But if you can use your imagination, your mind, to figure out what's the best way that I can do this the right way to make money, that's the way of doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then enjoying the process through it. If you can have fun during the process, it's a lot better.
Yeah. No, I know, like, we've had some trainers come through, and it's funny where they start, and then by the end of the programs, and then they go out, and they're making this money, and they're like, I'm a dog trainer, and I'm making, you know, like, this amount of money now, right? Like, to us, we're like that gives us, like, this, like, warm, fuzzy feeling. Like, we really aren't super motivated by the money, which is funny you say that, because we're like, even though it's like, yeah, the nice cars and stuff is cool to have, like, that's not that's not what our main focus is. Like, yeah, that's a byproduct of it, but like, it's like, how many people can we help? Because we know when we first started, we constantly heard, oh, you're just a dog trainer. Or like, what are you going to do for a real job? And it was kind of like this diss, right? Of like,
man, I used to
hey,
piss me off.
Yeah, you know.
I know.
Because people will put their what they can't do off on a lot of other people, and that's why a lot of people don't start businesses now, because the people that they keep around them, they, you know what I mean? Oh, you can't do it. Well, I didn't do it. You can't do it. It's not going to work. You're only going to go this far.
Yeah.
And then they end up not doing what they want to do in life. And so you guys started it, and you guys got those negative thoughts and negative, but you guys still kept on going.
Well, your biggest fan will be strangers. You know what I mean? And the people that are closest to you, they ain't going to say a word. Exactly. You got crickets until things start popping off. So and then they're like, oh, man, what's going on? Like, no, worry about yourself. Remember my little business? Go back to your little job. You know what I mean? Go ask for a day off.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't like that stuff. It's like,
know.
It doesn't make any sense. They should be your biggest fans, your friends and family, but usually they're not.
Usually they're not.
You know what I mean?
And usually don't keep them around too much, or at least they're not in too much like influence on us. Because I like for us, like for me, like I'm like my mindset is like super. Like if someone's negative, I'm like bye.
Yeah.
Like I'm really easy to be like see ya.
That's good. I'm the same way, and that took a long time for me to be like that though. I used to be the opposite, and now I'm like, I don't even care.
Like we can be friends, but from afar.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say hi from a distance, not not at my table.
I want to get into more questions, but before I do that, I feel like there's a story, because you guys are telling me that you guys were thrown to the wolves. That's why your slogan is that. I want to know why. Why is that your slogan? I know you're saying you guys feel like you were thrown to the wolves. You're talking about how they let you go on the police force, things like that. But I want to know, like, there has to be a really big story behind that. I want to hear about that.
Like how I got.
Well, I remember you saying earlier about the PTSD.
Yep.
How has it made things? Is it easier now? For one, has that gotten any better? And did it affect when you first started the training?
Well, for sure. Yeah. So with PTSD, you can get.
Hold on, before you start, do you want to tell us how you before that, like how you got that? Do you want to share that? Is that something you would want to share?
Yeah, I can do that. It helps. I might get a little teary eyed, but
that's fine. That's fine. Hey, we're howlers in here, man.
Yeah.
We ain't afraid of that.
So I guess I was about I don't know, 5 years in to my career, and
the police force.
Yeah. So my partner and I were on patrol. You know, it was fairly early in the morning, like around midnight, 1 o'clock, something like that. Excuse me. So we got a call that there was a baby that wasn't breathing. So we happened to be like 4 houses down from this. So we beat the paramedics there, right? So we go into this house, and the hardest part about the whole thing, really, that I found was, give me a sec.
You're good. Take your time, man.
It was we got in to the building. I was the first one in. Partner was behind me, and it was a basement suite. So we got to the bottom of the stairs. This guy's holding this little tiny baby, and I still remember what she was wearing. Like, it was a pink onesie. So then he just said, "Save my baby."
Mm-hmm. And then it's, seeing this, this desperation from,
the father.
The father being like, here, right? And,
And he hands me this child, and I'd done CPR on other people, car accidents, whatever, right? CPR on somebody who just had a heart attack, and it wasn't anything like this. This was different because I've kind of thought about things on how they worked out, and why this all happened. So we use kind of like dopamine in training dogs, right? So when a dog has higher dopamine levels, they're less likely to have negative experiences, right? So dopamine leads to long-term positive memory, right? So if
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so if you're low on your dopamine levels, so when you're depressed and stuff, your dopamine's down a little bit. You're not as happy, right? Mm-hmm. So just as this was kind of happening, I was getting separated from my wife, I had a 3-year-old child at home that I wasn't going to be.
So you were already going through it.
So I was going through some
already,
stuff. Yeah. So so my dopamine's low. I'm not, I wasn't seeing things properly, right? So I got in, I took this baby, and I'm like, okay, I have to, I got to save this baby. So I had her on the floor. I was doing CPR. I don't even know how long it was. I remember my partner trying to tap in, saying, "Look, I can help you," and I'm like, I'm in zone, trying to,
Right.
and then just the sounds. I don't know if you guys probably never heard anything like that before, but when you're doing CPR on the sounds that are coming out of the you think that the breaths are coming back, but it's not. But it gives you that
hope.
that
Sense
hope
of
that
hope.
there's something coming, right? So we ended up, I don't know how long it was going for, but eventually the paramedics and the fire showed up, and they pulled me off, and they continued, and then we went to the hospital. We had to go with it because it was at that time it's an investigation, right? So you don't know what's going on. So we had to accompany to the hospital. So we get there, and no, that's right. It wasn't. This was happening at 11. Sorry, late in the night. And I just remember we went to the hospital, kind of hung around, and then found out the baby was pronounced just after midnight. So then I remember we went for lunch. It was everything shut off in me. Mm-hmm. We went for lunch. We had, supper, continued the rest of our shift, and then, we went on days off. That was my last shift for my days off. And then, excuse me. I'm just going to take a sip of water here.
You're good, man. You're good. Yeah. Take your time. You're good.
This is where it's tough, though, the things that the officers have to go through, and you just, how do you really actually mentally prepare for something like that, right?
You really can't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I go on days off. I'm not dealing with it that well when I'm on days off, right? It's a little bit, I'm feeling like I failed this child and this father, right? So we have a team is called the Critical Incident Stress Team, or Critical Incident Team, that is supposed to help you, after calls like this, right? Mm-hmm. So I got back to work, and I tried to contact that team. No response. Left messages, no response. Left post-it notes on their desk, no response. So this is where I felt like I was thrown to the wolves, right? Yeah. So then I'm like...
That's brutal.
I thought to myself, well, maybe I'm just putting too much thought into this. Maybe I'm just being a pussy, right? Sorry.
No, you're good, man. Talk how you want on this podcast.
All right. So...
Full reign.
So I just kind of push it back, right? And it didn't show up again until, about 5 years later, I guess. So this happened in 2008, and then in 2013 is kind of when it all started bubbling over. I don't know.
Damn.
I'd be sitting there in my patrol car, and I just start to cry for no reason, right? It made no sense to me. So I'm like, okay, I can't I can't be going. And I started to get a little more rough with people, and people that were resisting a little bit, I put a little more pressure on and stuff like that, right? So I'm like, I can't go on doing this. I hated my job. So I started seeing somebody, a doctor, and then that's when they told me to go off work, right? It was, so I went off work, and I had some, thoughts of suicide. Before I left, I took my gun home with me, and there was some nights I sat there with a bottle of Crown or Jack Daniels and my gun sitting on the table, and I just sit there and drink the bottle. Just wanted it to stop. But luckily I had a couple people that were able to help me out, and that didn't happen. But then I never really got any support from the police department. I was told a few things we'll keep you on inactive duty until you get all this sorted out with the doctors and workers' compensation, which they denied me a bunch of times.
So, that's crazy.
Yeah. So then it was I was off. I was told not to do anything. So WCB took me. They were paying me like partial wage. So I was able to live. And then they told me not to do anything. Like I couldn't go to school, couldn't do anything. So I sat around my house for.
Dang, that's like the worst.
It is
thing for somebody to do.
Yeah.
So he was able to live, but you weren't living.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So before you keep going, I want to tell you something because I just first off, we do a lot of men's mental health podcasts on here. We have a lot of men that we talk. We have other businesses. That's something we talk about a lot on here.
Yeah.
But that can definitely have been a different situation because my ex-wife a month ago, one of her family members, he's a police officer.
Yeah.
He just blew his head off.
Yeah.
And in front of his children and everything.
Oh,
Oh, no.
So, I mean, he was going through major mental health. A lot of men go through a lot of major mental health issues that people just throw to the side. 'Cause at the same time, we're men, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves because, like you, right off the bat, even that man's father thinking, I'm the protector of my child. I have to be able to save him.
Yeah.
Then you as another man coming in saying, I'm going to have to save him. Same thing.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you failed, you know what I mean? We have a whole nother mindset that goes on in our head that we usually don't even let the world know about. We'll sit there, and if you're in a dark room and you're thinking all this stuff, wanting to do different things to yourself, like men have to be able to talk about things.
Yeah.
They have to have certain people they can talk about it with. It's something we talk about a lot in here.
And that's why we have this podcast, because, I mean, just for the viewers out there, like, he doesn't know us, and he's sitting here showing emotion. And that's something that he couldn't do, and that's why he went home.
With most men.
And did that. You know what I mean? So if you have somebody out there, talk to him. You know what I mean? Ask him, are you okay?
And the first thing we always think, are we being a pussy?
Yeah.
That's like the
Right.
first thing men
Yeah.
always think, oh, I'm being a bitch right
We're
now.
talking
I'm being a
about
pussy.
pride, you know?
I'm not going to do that. I can't do that. You don't want to show your friends that, nothing like that.
No.
But this is another thing that entrepreneurs go through too, because entrepreneurs are trying to build a business and they're suffering all the time, and people don't know what they're going through, and they don't want to tell them because everybody's telling them to quit. Then
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
just quit. Like, why do you get a regular job?
Yeah.
Quit.
Yeah.
So it's another thing. Like what people are going through as entrepreneurs is another form of depression, and people are hurting themselves because of this. So I just wanted to let you know, like,
Yeah,
this is a
it's
safe
appreciated.
place for stuff like that. And we talk about this stuff all the time in this podcast. We are not afraid to talk about anything in this podcast.
That's good because this is one of the things that I one of my platforms for my dog training business and being on social media and stuff is I want to be someone that people can reach out to because I've told my story a few times. So, I mean, I have gotten calls or gotten texts and from people. So it's good. It's tough for me to do.
Yeah.
but I need to. I feel like I need to do it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So.
It needs to be done. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. You can, we hold things out, and that comes out in different ways. Like you said, you're being a little
Yeah.
rougher with people.
Yeah.
Like you can be rougher at home. You could be rougher at work. Like
Yeah.
you might. A lot of things can just start failing because you're not letting it out.
Yeah.
The right way. And not saying you might never heal from it completely. It might be something in you, but it might build character in you.
Yeah.
Like you
When
can
work
build
this shit
something off of that. That child is going to have effect. That's a way the child can live on too.
Yeah.
He has effect on you in a positive way, though. You got to find the positive way that child can have effect on you for the rest of your life,
Yeah.
instead of having it in a negative way. You know what I mean? Like telling the story of the child and building your business because of the child, employing people because of the child, the way you work, the way you do things. I mean, that's all positive stuff. You know what I mean? Because you're building a business and you're building even more. You're starting to be able to start coaching people. And you think about it, I bet you a lot of this came from you being so like, oh, I'm going to get it done
Yeah.
because of what happened to you.
Yeah.
So if anything, that child is becoming a positive force. You're turning into a positive force already for you. And that's a good thing. Yeah, and that's what you're turning it into. So, I mean,
really
congrats
good.
on that.
Yeah, I really like that because I think a big thing with like when he's saying they wouldn't let him do anything, it was like he was sitting there and he finally came to the realization that like nobody's coming to save me.
Yeah.
Like I got to save myself, and then took that first step forward, and then it was like, okay, now I'm walking, right? And then you build this business,
Yeah.
right? So it's
You might not ever even build this business as big as it is.
Yeah.
Now, we're not saying like we all a lot of men, we're going to be thinking this, well, I would have given all this up to save that child. We all know that, right?
Yep.
But we know that if something like that you got to go through, you need to build that positive force that child left on you for something great. That's the thing. That's the thing you got to think about. The thing that pushes forward. You're always you're gonna go back. It's in us as men. We're gonna go back and we're gonna think about that for a little bit. It's gonna hurt us for a little bit. You know what I mean? But then you just go back right on that trail and just keep rolling again. Exactly. That's like the best way to do things. You just keep flowing, boom, over and over and over again. Yeah. And me, I understand like that kind of like not to that point, but I understand like the depression and things like that men go through. A lot of us men go through that, especially like you don't see a lot of these youngsters going through that. I feel like in a different age with entrepreneurship because a lot of them are lazy. They don't think like us. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves because we feel like we have to do this. We have to fix this. It's our job to do that, you know? Yeah. So I understand what you're talking about, man. And like I said, I would just always keep looking forward and the positive side of what that child did to you. Yeah. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I mean, you probably look at your children different.
Yeah.
You probably treat your children different because of that.
Yeah.
You probably put so much more time and energy into your children because of that. I mean, there's all kinds of positives that are going to come from that. Yeah. You know what I mean? True, and it's a baby. If you believe in God and things like that, he's in heaven. You know what I mean? But his life, his short life, had a massive effect on yours.
Yes, it did.
That changed everything in your life. Maybe from owning a business as big and powerful as you're getting, maybe you would have never met her. Yeah. You imagine that would have been a whole nother force of you not even meeting her because you would have never had that business. Yeah. You would treating your children different. There's just so much things that a ripple effect that it just changed in your life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I mean, we appreciate you sharing that story too, man.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've only said it a few times, but it's good. But yeah, then I mean, getting close to the end, 5 years, I was like. I like she said, I kind of like, I need to do something. I can't just sit around anymore. I need to like she said, nobody's coming to save me. I got to save myself, right? Got to stop sitting around, got to stop, waiting for, the go ahead to go take different schooling or whatever. So I ended up finding a dog training school in the States. Okay. So I told my WCB, workers' compensation worker, that I had found this course. Are they willing to cover it? And they said no, because it was out of country. So I said, okay, fine. I'm going to pay for it myself. The course, I'm able to go and come back as needed. So if WCB needs me for anything, I can come back, right? So, yeah, that's fine. So just before, I think it was like 3 days or 4 days before I was about to leave on this course, and they knew I was going, they started throwing job offers at me for different places, right?
Oh.
And I'd give them to my doctor, and he'd say, no, those don't meet your restrictions, go back to work restrictions. Dang. So you can't take them. So they were offering me like bylaw enforcement positions, which is like pretty much the same. I gotta wear a uniform. I gotta be doing law, enforcing law and that kind of thing, which is part of my restrictions. I wasn't supposed to do that. So they gave me this position, said, yeah, you got an interview on Monday. And I already told them I was leaving Saturday, and it was in North Carolina, right? So I was on a 35-hour drive. And I said, I'm not going to make the interview. So my doctor says not to go. So I went, and they said, okay, we're cutting you off from anything. WCB. So I phoned my police service. I said, this is what's going on. I said, yeah, don't worry about it. Well, you're still an inactive employee. Just whenever your appeal goes through, because I told them I was going to appeal the decision, whenever that goes through, then we'll get you back on doing something, right? So 3 months later, I got a letter in the mail to where I was at school saying my police service was firing me.
Damn.
Yeah. So I was like, there I was. I felt like I was thrown to the wolves, right? I had nothing. The girl I was with, the woman I was with, we had just had our baby, and he was 6 months old at the time. So now I'm unemployed. She's on maternity leave, and we're in North Carolina.
No workers' comp.
No workers' comp. I wasn't making anything. So we talked about it. We decided I was going to finish the program. And then I went through the appeal process, and that appeal process took like another year and a half. And I eventually did win it, but they didn't reinstate me. They didn't do anything. They gave me what my minimum was for those 4 months.
For back pay?
For back pay.
Dang.
So I got like, I don't know, $8,000 or something like that.
That's nothing with a new bait with the
Dang.
newborn.
Yeah.
And
So I'm like panicking. I'm like, how do I do this, right? Like, how do I support my family? I don't know how this business is going to go. Everyone's telling me that I can't just be a dog trainer.
Yeah.
Right?
I hate that part, man.
Yeah.
That's like the worst part of entrepreneur. When you're first starting out,
Yeah.
oh man, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you're, really? Like they look at you like, man, really? Stop looking at me like
Yeah,
that. You
I know.
Yeah.
They don't see what you see, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I took that $8,000. I built some dog kennels with it on my property, and then it just went from there. Like, and then it happened. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Fast.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Are you a guy that works really good under pressure?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what it is, dude. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing because then, like, when your back's against the wall, like a wolf,
Yeah.
you're fighting.
Yeah.
That's what you did. You fought, huh?
I did. Yeah.
And then you started building.
I did, and I don't think I would have. I don't think it would have came to what it was if I would have had like a backup plan. Like if I would have had, if it doesn't work, I can go back to like running the desk at the police station or whatever, right? I think this happened like I had to be dropped.
Yeah. Fight or
order-
flight kind
yeah.
of thing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Well, congrats on that.
Yeah.
I'm loving
Thank you.
that. I wanted to ask you too. Another thing we have on the list a lot for entrepreneurs is there's always a foundation of what an entrepreneur is building themselves up on. So I mean, some people it's God, different things. I wanted to find out from you. What we'll start with you, or we'll go with you.
'Kay.
Start first.
Okay.
What have you built even before him and now with him? What have you built your foundation off of?
That one's a tough one. I'm trying to think of exactly how. For me, I don't know. I always had this like feeling inside me that like I will be successful. Like it's just I don't know where it came from or what it is, but it's just like I know that I'll be successful and that I have to put in the work, right? So, like from a foundation standpoint, like I said, whether it's, like just this internal feeling that I had, and, other entrepreneurs I've talked to, they're like, yeah, like I get that. Because I'm like, I don't know how to explain it, any more than that. But, for me, it was just like constantly like executing on what I said I was going to do. Right. So like for me, that foundation was, having that ability to like follow through with what I wanted or what I said. Right. And make it come to light. So I don't know if that's kind of answering that question a little bit, but
does the back end of the business, does that like the business side of things, does that come natural to you?
yeah,
I can see that.
very natural. I had no schooling on it. It just made sense to me. Right?
It's common sense to you when
Yeah.
it's not common to anybody else.
Yeah.
See, I have a lot of that too, and I've been told that. But I in my business is really cutthroat. I have to read people.
Yeah.
So I go out there and I have to educate my people on my business so they can become customers. And I'm reading you guys a lot. This is what I do as a business owner. I read people a lot, and I can just already read a lot of who you guys are.
Yeah.
Like I can see he's the muscle for sure in it. You're the one like the drive is just hard in you, and you have the map. That's what I can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why it worked so well.
So was there, or what point was it that when you when you wanted to, like, I want to do this and take it full time, there is no plan B. Like, where were you at in your life when you made that decision? Like, what
That's a good one. I want to know that too.
So my situation was kind of funny because I kind of dabbled in a lot of like different things. So like when I first graduated, like my mom especially was like, you got to go to college. Like you have to. And I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't really want to do anything. And she's like, go. So I did, I think, a couple of months, dropped out. I was like, this is not for me. Like, I'm not doing this, not wasting my money, right? And then instantly I met somebody that was doing dog training on a very small scale. And I'm like, hey, like, I like dogs, and I want to work for myself. So I just did it. Like, I just like, okay, I'm going to take this training, this certification, which I wouldn't recommend now. But I take my money, right? Did that certification. Then I worked with other trainers, got experience, and then had a bit of a natural act, you know, with dogs. So I just like started my business. I didn't have that same like reservations of like, oh,
I
like,
love that though. That's rare. Yeah. That's very rare to have.
Probably maybe a little bit more like on the naive side of like, it's fine, it'll work.
Yeah,
to me, I'm like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? Like, okay, you go bankrupt, and then you deal with that, and you start over again. Like that's
to fail.
No, exactly. It was, to me, the other outcomes were worse than what could happen here, right? So
would it hurt you more?
Yeah, so I started that, but my biggest challenge that I have now discovered since meeting him was my passion was in the business and not so much the dog training. So I was kind of stuck in this, like I like dogs, I like dog training, but that wasn't the passion, that wasn't what was like making me wake up every day. I'm like, no, I want to figure out how to make this bigger.
The business.
Yes,
is
the
your
business
thing.
stuff.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, but it took me a while to figure that out. So I would quit dog training for a bit because I thought I was like, maybe I just don't like this. Like, maybe this isn't the thing. And I would quit it and then do something else for a bit. No, I want to work for myself. And I would go back, start it up again because I was like, oh, I'm good at it. And then I'd be like, oh, I'd get burnt out a little bit. No, I don't really want that. And I would go back. And so, like I said, in a small window where I was building my dog training business, I got this other job with the security thing. And again, it was just fluke because I was like, I want the security job. I just want to get some security dogs out. Like, that was my only intention. But I fell into a position where I built systems and processes for this company that had nothing, right? So I figured out how to build their security department. And then I moved into their internal training. Like, they had 60 employees and no internal training program. And like, because it's natural, my brain's like, this doesn't make sense. Like, how do you track like what people have done and like what they need to do and they get hired and like they got to do this. So I just like, I would stay late and just like build these things and just show my, you know, higher ups like, hey, this is what I made. And they're like, holy shit. Like, yeah, we want that, right? And so those skills I was able to take, and then I'm like started applying it to my dog training business, and I'm like, oh, okay, I got something here.
Yeah.
Like, so, yeah, that was kind of, with me, it was a little bit all over the place, and then I figured it out that it was the business side, and then we met right after that. So it was like, oh, I have somebody that does the dog training side and likes it,
sounds distant.
and I can focus on all the business stuff.
Crazy.
So it was like, all the timing was kind of perfect. But, yeah.
I feel like it was all like divine appointment on this
Totally.
one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it seems a little too much.
Yeah.
Like a little like just too back. Like, you know what I mean? It just happened. Like, you guys, it's like you guys are completely different on different sides, but you guys love the same business.
Yeah.
But you guys want to do more of this side, and he wants to do more of that side. Really.
Yeah.
And you guys have different drives for different things, but
Totally.
they're for the same goal.
Yeah.
So that's always good to have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the dynamic's cool because he's like a little bit more on like the soft side and like developing people and stuff, and I can be a little bit more like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, there's something weird there, and that it really balances it out because I'll be like, okay, take it. Just keep in mind what I'm seeing and just see, and then he'll either be like, okay, you were right.
But it makes you guys like one, one powerful team.
Exactly.
Levels you guys out.
That's so rare to have, man. Like, I'm telling you how I had someone working here for a while, and me and them were like that a lot.
Yeah.
But it's rare to have that, especially as your partner.
Yeah.
Like, that's even more rare.
Yeah.
Because you guys are like you're gonna build so much faster and better.
Yeah.
And then you guys are gonna be able to like decipher people as you deal with them faster to get people in or out that needs to leave or needs to come.
Totally.
You know what I mean? So that works out for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, we've learned so much, like even just since starting, right? And then we've learned so much now that it's just like if we lost everything and had to start again, like it would be so it would be so easy. I don't want to say easy, but it would be so easy because we have all this information now. It would just be like, hey, let's just duplicate this. Let's go.
That's cool. Let's show Mike B a little love. Mike Barron.
Yes.
So Money B. Okay. How'd you guys end up hooking up with Money B?
Well, that's a funny story.
We call him Money B over here. The house over Baz.
Yeah.
So
it's really funny.
Yeah. All right. So we're in the process. Like, we're noticing some things that we needed to improve on in our business, which was the marketing and the sales, right? So most of our sales and clients came from word of mouth, which was, it was good. It was, we're getting a lot. We're popular. Like, we'd get out do social media. We've been recognized, like we're from Canada, we've been recognized in Las Vegas and Florida. You know, people have come up to us and said they've seen us on social media.
Oh, wow.
So, but we didn't know how to close a lot of these different sales or reach a further market, right? Like, we had capped, basically, is what I feel like.
Okay.
Just because of...
You guys need to make it to another level now.
Yes.
Like, you got to figure out, okay, I'm here now. Now let's do this
door.
other level.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I saw a post online about, you know, the marketing and stuff. And
For Mike Barron?
no, it was from a different trainer.
Okay.
So I clicked on the trainer. I sent him a message. I'm like, hey, who's this guy like that you're doing this sales stuff through?
Oh, Amanda. You're talking about Amanda?
No,
Not her?
It was
Okay.
a different guy. Yeah.
Okay.
And he's like, well, it's Mike Barron. They provide salespeople. I'm like, okay, cool. So he gave me the sales guy's number. We got in contact. We started talking, and originally we were just looking for sales. That's it. We just wanted salespeople, and then once they kind of put us through their whole system and process, like on
Mike
how we
with his
going.
good salespeople.
Yeah. We just we're like, how do we pay for this? Because we have to figure out how to get this system, because this is exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, but it's so funny because it's like, from like styles, we're like polar opposites,
Yeah.
right? Like, so if we were just to, no offense, Mike, I love
No
you.
offense.
But like, if we were just to see him on Instagram, like we probably, like it wouldn't have like naturally aligned. We'd have been like,
Yeah.
that's not for us,
Yeah.
right? But just the way it went, and then like the connection was awesome, and now, you know, we've hung out with him.
And having met Mike and
Yeah.
seeing what's behind the camera
Yeah.
and all that, man, such a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You, obviously, because you guys like have more like a conservative like way personality, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
more. Mike's wild.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's Hollywood
Yeah.
in a sense. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I mean that's what gets the sales. That's what pushes.
Yeah.
Totally.
You know that flash. That's what gets the attention. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of times you need that anyways. You know, and you guys can still be who you are and let Mike and his team do his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. I mean, I went over there and I was just like blown away too when I was at his studio or had his facility.
Yeah.
They were all wound up. Everybody I loved it, man. I was
I
like, it woke me up from the drive. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
You're not expecting to be greeted the way they greet. You know?
Yeah.
For sure.
Hypes everybody up. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's cool. So that's how you guys contacted him, and what ended up happening from there.
Well, we're very like pushy. That's like
So you guys
we
are
got-
on him,
Yeah,
huh?
we're not like
We're
like
on
we're
his
like
team.
no, we wanna like if we're gonna do this, like again, when we commit to something, like we commit to something, and we're like everyone's like we ask them like how fast can you guys move? Like we move fast, like we are executors.
Yeah.
No, like I just figured out people weren't executors. I thought everybody was like that, but no, because that's just if someone tells us to do something, like we're like on it.
You're on it. Quick.
Sometimes it's like we don't even like we should maybe think about it a little bit more. Like sometimes we're on that side of things, but I would rather be an executor.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
so we're like how fast can you guys move? And then we're like going through all this stuff, and then we're like, hey, let's go. And then they're like, holy shit, you guys
come
are
on,
like
chop,
you guys
chop,
are fast.
Let's
And then
go.
it just kind of like stood out, I think, in that sense, and just we were like we need more. Like we need to go to this next level, and we're really trying to get this coaching side going, right?
So that's why you guys flew out and everything, huh?
Yeah.
I
It was
know.
kind of funny because we were talking. We're like, well, I know he goes into partnerships, like he partners with different companies and businesses. So we're like, maybe we should ask him, like, if he wants to, do a partnership with us. But so we contacted him, and I think it was at the same time. They're like, hey, we're thinking about looking for a partner in this field. Like,
And we're like, hey, we want to do that.
Yeah.
So it just kind of it just
Again,
worked out
another
too.
situation where it was just like
See, you guys
perfect
have.
alignment.
I feel like you guys just have things working out. You guys were thrown to the wolves, but
Yeah.
it's your time now.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's your time to shine, and now you guys things are coming just together. First,
Totally.
you guys meeting each other. That's
Yeah.
so. I mean, it all kind of like I feel like spirals through.
Yeah.
You go through all the hardship and all that, and at some point, everything just starts flowing.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of that has to do with the way we look at things now, the mindset, because it's like that, the red car theory. You've heard of the red car theory, right? So if someone says, I'm going to give you $50 for every red car you see on your drive to work today, you're going to be looking for that, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we're looking for that step up, that success, that place that we want to be, that freedom. So now we're looking for it. We're not missing the opportunities like we used to, right? Like the mindset is totally different. And then I think that's why everything's aligning the way it is.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people like just want to wait and see what comes to them, and it's like for us, we're like, we're gonna go. We're gonna make it. Yeah, exactly. So, no, it's I don't know. It's been a really good ride, and we've figured out now, how to get out of the grind, right? Of being like a dog trainer, which they make. They make good money being a dog trainer. They can make 100, 150 a session. But actually where, we've had the success was switching out of that and being in the business where, like, we travel all over. Like, last week we were on a cruise. Our business is still going. This week we're in San Diego. Our business is still going. We're still, like, clients are coming in. They're getting delivered. Like, it's just, things are going. We're still able to, scale and expand the business while we go and we're doing other things, right?
Yeah,
and that's what we want to help other people find, right? Is that you can get out of that grind and stop trading your time for money and actually go and, be able to have that financial freedom. And for us, it's not even so much the financial freedom, it's the time freedom. Because we want to be able to work from anywhere. Like after this, we don't go home, we go to another place for Christmas, and then we're to Greece for a month.
Oh, love Greece. I just got back a couple months ago.
Oh, really? Yeah, we've never been. So.
Yeah. Oh, man, you're going to love it. Greece is nice. It's dope.
So that's that's what we're trying to do for everybody else, right? Like one of my main missions at the beginning, I know you talked about, you asked her what kind of drives you, and what's that, I guess it would be, what's your why? So for me, it was my family. Like I needed to provide for my kids. And I also wanted to, like, because dog training was such a hobby industry, right? Like it wasn't, like you said, or like we say, it's, you're just a dog trainer. It's looked down on, right? So one of my goals was I wanted to help as many dog trainers as I could get to a level where they would have that, respect or that financial freedom, right? Where they could, make that money. It wouldn't have to be a hobby, right? And that's what we're trying to maintain and progress with this coaching business, right? Like we're training dogs and the public. Then we got into coaching trainers, how to train dogs. And now we're getting into how to train trainers to run their own business and be not self-employed, but a CEO and running a business.
See, that's really good because, we had somebody else on here. I know you heard of Amanda. We had her on here. I had no idea about the dog training business. I would have never known. But I had no idea about the content business either. Yeah. You would have never thought, I do content. Like, there's money in that? I had no idea. You know what I mean? Dog training, you don't know. But when you educate people on that, it brings a whole other light to them. Like, man, there's so much you can do with that. Yeah. And it's not like something AI can take over. AI is going to be taking over so much things. They're not going to be able to take over training a dog. No. You know what I mean? Dogs have senses and feelings and things like that, and that's what's going to end up happening with that. So you guys putting that into it. But we are running out of time. I do want to do one more closing thing. So we had another couple in here that owned a business together. Okay. Yeah. And what I would want to do, I like doing this. This is cool. So if you, what I want to do is because we usually have somebody. If you were by yourself, I would ask you, who are you deep inside? I would say, who are you? Take away everything. I would want to know who you are inside. But I actually want you to look at her and tell her who you see her as, and I want you to do the same thing.
Okay. This is gonna make me cry because, like she said, I'm the soft one, right?
Go and look. Eye contact. You gotta do eye contact on this.
What I see her inside?
Who is she inside? Who do you see her as?
Be appropriate.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it out.
Be inappropriate if you want.
No,
we're house over Baz over here.
There you go.
So go ahead. Yeah, you get deep. Get deep.
Well, I think I'm just gonna. She's just everything that I think everything that I manifested for myself and what I wanted in a partner. Like this, she's such a strong woman. This has been emotional.
You're good, man. You're good. Safe spot though, man.
Look at me, just a baby over here crying over.
You're
this
good,
woman.
man. We already know you have fangs behind that. Nobody's worried about that. You know what I mean? Just tell her who she is.
She's just so strong. So I'm just very proud of everything that she is. I wouldn't be where I am without her.
Loving that. Loving that.
I can't say anymore.
Yeah, it's okay.
Camera?
No, remember, look up.
Oh.
Yeah, the tears roll back if you look
No,
up.
I love it. Oh, this is the camera I was trying to show everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can see though. They saw because we had the both of them
Oh,
on.
yeah.
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 So look at him and let him know who you see him as and who
I'm gonna
he
cry
is
again.
inside.
I thought I'm trying not to cry. I'm being the tough one.
Yeah, I know. You are.
This is hard to explain in words, but it's funny, like, that you went through all these challenges and stuff, and, you know, at moments you felt, like, weak or insecure and all these things, but it's actually, you were probably one of the strongest people that I know, and what I think makes you strong is your compassion for people. Like, you were saying how people do this for money. Like, this guy right here is, like, someone that just truly, like, gets passion out of seeing people succeed. I've never seen it. It's something that I wish I had. Like, I have compassion for people, don't get me wrong. I want to see people succeed, but, like, his true, like, inner core is helping.
You know what though? Tell him.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Say you.
Your true, like, inner core of who you are is so compassionate, of helping people around you, and, like, how you've been able to enhance my life, enhance your kids' lives, enhance the other trainers, our employees, and everyone around you. Like, I think if you realize how influential that you actually are, your mind would be blown. So that's what I see, how strong you are, how compassionate, and how, like, absolutely influential you are.
I love it.
I love
I'll
you.
on that one, too. We love that. Well, I wish we had more time too. We even went over our time,
Oh,
but
no.
I was like, we have to keep going.
Yeah.
I'm loving the conversation here.
Yeah, it was
And
awesome.
Man, I appreciate both of you
Appreciate
coming
you
on.
Yeah.
And I love that you guys came on. I
Yeah.
mean, I really appreciate you guys coming on. I love that Mike brought you guys out here.
Yeah,
We have
thanks
any
for.
questions in the chat?
I think if there's
Is anything in the chat? Okay, cool. It's 11:30. Yeah, so
anyone that wants to reach out for anything like mental health related, or even like from the coaching side.
Say your IG. Tell me your IG.
Your IG's on there, huh?
Yeah. Want to get you up.
yeah, put the IG up, and then you ever want to talk to him? So go ahead, good. Shoot it out to that camera right there.
Your Instagram.
See what you were saying.
Yeah, it's or Arsenal K9 Academy or Arsenal K9 University on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah,
So-
and we have our personal one, which we post a lot of all the general stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the official Jason Jenna. So we do it together
Yeah.
because that's just how we roll.
Yeah.
is everything is
That's
how you
together.
roll,
so,
huh?
yeah.
Together.
It's
Yeah.
a pack.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's your pack right there.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I love it. Thank you for coming on.
Yes. Thank you.
We're gonna have
so
to do
much.
this again sometime, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're gonna
Thanks,
close out. Let me know when you're ready to roll. How's over Baz? I'm Jacob Casas.
I'm Rico Savage.
Shed the sheep. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we're out.